Let's freaking go. Oh my goodness. I was sitting here earlier today. I'm looking at each and every one of you out in PHL Nation, whether you're watching this live right now or whether you're one of the over 8,000 subscribers, one of the 2.5 million views that we have accumulated on this channel. I want you to consume what I'm about to say. Wilson Alexander had a very interesting tweet. Did you know of the top 450 recruits in the 247 composite, only 8 of them remain unsigned. Only 8 of them remain unsigned. Tomorrow is practically worthless. Worthless. It used to be that this was the biggest eve of all eves in college football. Bigger than Christmas Eve, bigger than EVE. You remember Eve? She used to have the paw print tattoos right on her chest. It used to be bigger than all of them. Used to have the Bayou Recruiting Bash. Who remembers that? Type Y for yes, type in for no if you remember the Bayou Recruiting Bash. Type Y for yes, type in for no. But today I'm going to start a little bit of a preview of the 2024s. I'm going to share with you a few things that I've been working on with the Patreon for the 2023s. We are going to chat a little bit more about Joe Burrow. I know I have gotten some interesting messages after my appearance on Blake's show last night, where we kind of got heated over a few players that don't even play for LSU. So it is interesting that the recruiting period has changed so much. Okay. We say hi to Sherry Berry, the PHL champ. See you, Sherry Berry won our NFL contest. Skipper, Jacob, Isaiah. There is no other quarterback in the SEC returning that's as good as JAYDEN. The only other person that comes close is a QB from Tennessee. He's just another TJ Finley, though tall, strong arm, but no accuracy. I do not think that's Joe Milton. And the truth is, Joe Milton plays in a far better system. So Joe Milton has a really high floor, but Isaiah, good to see you. We say hi to Big Al, normal guy. A lot of the good PHL legends are in here, pretty excited about this glorious evening. Okay. So I know the reason why I say that is because this is the dead of the offseason. There is quite literally nothing going on right now. And you're going to keep hearing me say this. Let's push the early period back. I wish that there was more kids signing tomorrow. There is just basically nothing. I mean, nothing happening tomorrow. Okay. We say hi to Larry. Good to see you. It's been a while since I've seen you, Larry. And look, I want to start off with this as well tonight. I don't know why this isn't popping up. Should pop up here in just a second. But Pro Football Focus released there it is. They released their top 10 quarterbacks returning in all of college football next year. And as you can see, there's only 2 on this list that are on our schedule next year, Jordan Travis and KJ Jefferson. And as you can see, Jayden Daniels is the number 6th ranked quarterback returning in all of college football next season. Okay. Now, what I will say about this is I think Jayden Daniels is the number 2 quarterback returning in the SEC. I believe KJ Jefferson is the real deal. I would actually have KJ Jefferson higher than Jordan Travis on this list, and I might even have him higher than Drake May. I really do believe in KJ Jefferson because he has to do more with less than the other names on this list, and I think KJ's supporting cast is by far the worst on this list outside of his star running back, who's good but not elite. I could make a case he is the 3rd best running back on this list of teams here. So as high as I am on Jayden Daniels going into next year, obviously we are going to be diving very deep into some Jayden Daniels film over the next couple of weeks. On Sunday night, there will likely be a Jayden Daniels film study dropping. There will be no live stream on Saturday night. There will be one on Thursday, and we might do one tomorrow night. So be on the lookout for that. We might do a Wednesday night live stream. Thursday night live stream will start a little bit later, as I have a few college basketball duties. So there you go. Type Y for yes, type in for no if you believe Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC going into next year. Type Y for yes, type in for no. There's a few people who would say whoever the quarterback at Alabama would be, because of the supporting cast that they'll have next year. But then again, we normally just assume Alabama has a great supporting cast. Do they? I mean, I know they signed 9 5-stars in this last class, but who are their receivers going to be next year? Who is their best tight end going to be next year? Who is their quarterback going to be next year? And who is their best running back going to be next year? And who is even going to be calling the plays? So the one thing that does set up really nicely for LSU this next season and with Jayden Daniels is it does make it to where Jayden is in a position where he's not going to be going up against a lot of elite gunslingers next year. If you were to take a look at this top 10 list, and let's just say we were making a top 10 list of the best college quarterbacks on our schedule last year, well, there would be a lot. There would be Bryce Young on this list. Obviously, KJ Jefferson would be on this list. I know we played him in the SEC championship game, but Stetson Bennett would definitely be on this list, and so on and so on. So yeah, it does set up it does set up very nicely for Jayden going in to next year. Jayden could be a Heisman candidate if he could push the football down the field. LA Mom, good to see you as well. Brian, good to see you. It's been a while since I've seen old Brian. What's up? I don't know if JD's the best quarterback in the SEC, but he most certainly is good enough to win a national championship with LSU. I agree. I do. I just think next year, the quarterbacks throughout college football just aren't going to be as good. Obviously, there's going to be some people that do emerge. I just don't know. Like, does Cade Klubnik take another step that everyone is expecting him to? He was my number one quarterback coming out of the last cycle. And it did not shock me when he moved up to number one because Walker Howard was the number one quarterback for the last cycle, but he moved down to number 5. I always had Cade Klubnik, number 1. But we'll see what he'll do next year at Clemson. But as of right now, I think the quarterbacks next year in college football won't be as deep. Now, of course, there's going to be some that emerge. There will be some, right? What about Spencer Sanders versus Jackson Dart at Ole Miss? Or maybe it is Walker Howard at Ole Miss. We shall see what happens there. But here's the thing. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting married on Saturday. That's why we're not having a live stream on Saturday. I might do one tomorrow, so just be on the lookout for that. I might get Blake on here tomorrow. We'll see. But the simple truth is this. I am fired up. And it's not necessarily because I'm getting married. I'm very excited about that. Obviously, me and Haley love each other. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I am just very excited that nothing is going on LSU related. Now, that hurts my views. Obviously, if there's a big, juicy LSU story, my views go way up. But I also like when there's just nothing because you can just chat about whatever. You can make this your own thing. And that's what I want you guys to do tonight. You can ask me anything under the sun. I know a lot of you have a lot to say about that Bengals game. This is the first time we have been live since the Bengals-Chiefs fiasco. It is a little weird because LSU's numbers in the Super Bowl on Sunday are actually low. There's no LSU players on the Eagles, and we have one on the Chiefs, and he has, been one of the bigger disappointments on the Chiefs and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I still love Clyde, but it's just, the facts. We're in a very difficult spot here as LSU fans because not only do the Eagles play, they're loaded with players from every other SEC team except us. You got Jalen Hurts at Alabama, Oklahoma. You got all these other Alabama, Ole Miss guys. You got a Mississippi State. There's 4 Mississippi State players in the Super Bowl. 4 from Mississippi State. 4. Oh, don't give me the congratulations stuff. Don't give me that BS. We're not there yet. All right. We are here to talk LSU football. All right. We are here to talk LSU football. Now, a little bit later, Sip G, I will get some marriage advice from each and every one of you because I know I need it. I'm not an expert. God's the only expert, Kenny. If you know what show that's from, shout out to you. But I'm ready to talk hardcore LSU football. If you want to talk KOLAJ, COBBINS, I hope I'm saying his last name correctly. I watched a lot of his film today. Very interesting player out of Destrehan. I know a lot of you love the Destrehan area. We've seen some of the best LSU players, a lot of them with the last name Jefferson, come out of that region. COBBINS looks like he's a pretty solid player, right? He's a little light. He's not the biggest guy, but he's rated really highly. He's a 4-star. We'll talk a little bit about him. I watched a good bit of his tape today. I also watched a good bit of him go up against Ricky Collins when I was doing some of my Ricky Collins breakdowns. So anything LSU football related, we're going to get to it tonight. As always, whichever topic you want to bring up, I will go straight to it if you super chat, right? That's always a policy. You help me, I help you, right? January gets a little dry, right? Everybody's moving on to baseball. Everybody is, watching whatever. But I'm here to tell you that anything LSU football related, you can always come here and we're talking LSU football. Now, we might venture off into the NBA or lemon pepper chicken wings or the simple truth that Breaking Bad is the best TV show of all time. We might venture off into different topics, including, are you freaking kidding me? Sean Payton to the Broncos? I hate that move for him. And I'm a Sean Payton fan. I hate that move. And I'm going to tell you why a little bit later. I love it for the Saints. I love it for the Broncos. I hate it for Sean. And I'm a Sean guy, right? I know he is not the most affable guy. I get it. But he's a GOAT. He's one of the best coaches to ever be between the headsets. Hate this for him. Hate this. Well, we'll see. So, John Sibley, good to see you. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch Super Bowl, but if my neighbor is tying his shoes, I'll probably go watch that. Yeah, I'll say this, right, about the Super Bowl matchup. I've gotten this from one of you, right? The person's not currently in the live stream, but I did get this message. Not really excited about the Super Bowl matchup. And it's more so because we had Joe Burrow, we had Andrew Whitworth, we had Odell Beckham, and we had Jamar Chase in the game last year. So it was a big deal, right? It wasn't just a big deal for, 2019 LSU. I mean, we got viewers who have a very close tie to the 03 team, the first national championship of the modern era. And to see Whitworth win the Super Bowl and the man of the year and all of that. I know it sucks, right? This Super Bowl matchup compared to last year. But this is still going to be a very fun Super Bowl, right? I know I'll lose viewers for this, but I like Jalen Hurts, right? I think this is one of those situations. You would be shocked how many Alabama fans tell me, you know what, I like Joe Burrow. I think LSU fans should probably feel the same way about Jalen Hurts. If you can't get behind Jalen Hurts and separate, whatever, he was on the field for one of the most historic LSU beatdowns of all time. So, the last time we played him, he didn't do anything versus us. That was one of our best defensive games as well. I love me some Jalen Hurts, right? We love a good underdog story, and he's a 4-star recruit, and he was a quarterback at Alabama. But we love seeing people not immediately enter the portal when he gets beat out. He stuck it out at Alabama, transferred to Oklahoma, And all he did when he went to the Eagles, why did we waste a second-round pick on him? Or what Eagles fans said. He can't throw. He's not our guy. I cheer for those kinds of people, right? Because everybody says, I got naysayers. I got haters. Jalen's one of those guys. He has true haters. And I get behind those kinds of people. I always do. And by the way, when has Jalen Hurts ever made it about himself? All he does is play through a hurt shoulder, punch in, punch out. Doesn't really brag or anything like that. I can get down with that. I like those kinds of players. Kim Mulkey should coach them in too. I want to talk some Kim Mulkey tonight. I watched that game yesterday. Sherry Berry is the LSU women's basketball expert of PHL. She watches every second of every game. Not many people could say that. Sherry's watched like every game. So yeah. Mahomes was good in college, but lost to the Tigers in the Texas Bowl. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I heard that bowl game was actually a lot of fun. Like, not just the fact that we beat down the Raiders, but also everybody just had a good time. It was Fournette. I believe that was Fournette's last game. No, it was the second. That was the sophomore year's bowl game. So yeah. Now, here's what we're gonna do. I want to chat a little bit about the Senior Bowl as well. We got Ali Gay there. We got Jay Ward there. I think those are the only two guys we have there. Big weeks for them. Hopefully they go out there and make them some money. Yeah, it's gonna. I haven't seen a whole lot of buzz generated by those two yet there. So I think as far as like all the LSU football news, we've touched on it all. I did a deep video yesterday on the Bayou Traditions NIL initiative that was released to the public. We talked quite a bit about that. And I'll share a few thoughts on it. I like the way it looks. I think a lot of us are still trying to figure out this NIL thing. And I think one thing, and Skipper, thank you so much. First super chat of the evening, Skipper. We'll go to whichever comment you want to go to next. But I'm here to tell you, I really do mean this. I think we like to think we know more about NIL when we don't, right? Which is why we get these $13 million stories that are out there. And we get these very strange, rumored amounts of money. I'll tell you this, okay? I don't think there's many of you that hate the fact that the players are getting some of the pie. But it is amazing how much you can win without player X being a part of your team, right? And this has always been the truth about college football. It is not about the individual players outside of the quarterback position. And even then, sometimes it doesn't matter there. College football will always be a numbers game. It will never not be a numbers game, right? In the NFL and in high school football, individual players move the needle way more than they do in college, right? Perfect example. The Bengals lit up the Bills. The Bills don't have an elite pass rusher. Guess what? The Chiefs did. They have a few, and they won the game, right? Individual players really can move the needle in a football game, whereas a collection of players in college football need to pile up injuries to where it is near impossible to overcome, right? So, yeah, college football is always going to be far more of a numbers game. And what's going to be interesting to me is, let's just say player X is a 5-star recruit and he is demanding $150,000. Okay. And he wants $150K to come to your school. I think a lot of schools are just going to say, okay, we don't need you. If you're Ohio State, if you're Alabama, you have no problem getting 5 stars or top 100 4 stars. So I'm just not one of those people that is going to just chase money or chase people that just want a ton of money. So, so there you go. Roger Dodger says I'm 28 years old, and I don't know if I've ever seen the PMAC that wound up. Yeah, it's a good thing, right? The Tennessee game was a lot of fun to watch on TV. I know Hal and a few of our PHLers were there. That's obviously a really good thing. Man, it was lit. It was absolutely lit. Okay. Marcus had a great phone conversation with him. I love your photo. Lamar too. Yeah, that's right. I actually got to go to that game. It was so much fun. So much fun. Okay. So Skipper, whichever topic you want to pick, we'll go straight to it. So there you go. Now, there was someone who mentioned that I don't promote the PHL merch enough anymore. Okay, here's your opportunity. Power Hour LSU merch. It's pretty simple. Right there in front of you. What are we giving out tonight? Let's see. I kind of want to give out something a little special this glorious evening. Let's see here. All right. There we go. I'm giving out pretty much all of my Will Campbell autograph photos. I got one more right here. I might actually have another. So there you go. Will Campbell autograph, Eye of the Tiger. Can't beat it. If you get $50 of PHL merch tonight, that's 2 items. I'm sending you this Will Campbell autograph photo right here. I'll also include a Joe Burrow card in that mix as well. And I think you guys have heard of him. So Will Campbell photo and a autograph photo and a Joe Burrow card to the next person that gets $50 of PHL merch. I got to promote that stuff a little bit better. I got a message from a viewer. You don't promote yourself enough on the channel. It's like, well, I got this, got the thing right there. PowerHourLSU.com. Thank you so much, Harry. I really appreciate it. Branson, my TikTok specialist. He's the best QB in the SEC right now until someone passes him up. So I want to show you something. I kind of want to put this somewhere. Look at this. Branson sent me this today. And I don't have a whole lot of Shaquille O'Neal stuff. That's a pretty cool Funko Pop. The iconic Shaquille O'Neal Slam magazine. That's so cool. Look at that. Look at that. How cool is that? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Shaquille O'Neal is your favorite all-time NBA player. Okay? Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Okay? Let's see here. So yeah, I've had a few of you today reach out to me about Nicholas Harbor. Okay. Everybody welcome Eric Bankston to the channel. Eric, good to see you. Loving the smile, loving the energy. Get the Y and the exclamation point. Everybody welcome Eric Bankston to the channel. Ellis Robinson, the 4th, committing tomorrow. We actually talked about this photo right here, JT. Joe Burrow's backup was on our channel on Saturday night. I didn't know he was coming on, but he came on the channel. Andre Sale was on PHL, and you can watch the interview from, you can just click to the PHL icon and you can find it under the live tab. So there you go. Shaq's one of your faves. Carvis, good to see your beautiful face. Lots of PHL legends in here tonight, man. I'm going to be honest. So I go look at like online metrics all the time. Like I go look at like Google searches and all of that to see what's actually, popping up. And like there's just nothing going on. Like last year we had a bunch of Brian Kelly stuff happening right now. Okay, we're hiring coaches and all that. There really is just nothing going on. And the fact that 65 of you are with me on a Tuesday evening and there's always a lot of competition out there, I am forever grateful to each and every one of you. And I guarantee you, if I am on this microphone and I'm looking into this camera right here, I am not going to be not giving you 1000%. Okay. I really do appreciate that. I want to always welcome newbies. We got a bunch of, once again, Eric, we always like newbies to get the next question in. So, Eric, any LSU football related topic, we'll go straight to it. But yes, I'm a huge Shaquille O'Neal fan. I really appreciate that, Branson. I don't have a whole lot of Shaq stuff. So I actually have something for John Sibley Butler. So Joseph Asai, I'm pretty sure you know the young man, knowing all the influence you have. I kind of want to send this to John Sibley. If you want it, let me know. I actually have a Joseph Asai Texas card. And this was a young man who committed the late hit penalty. What the media doesn't tell you is he was the best player for the Bengals defense all night long. He was Pro Bowl level good versus the Chiefs. He makes one mistake, and that's the crappy thing about sports is you can always be remembered for that one mistake. Who was the Boston Red Sox first baseman that the ball went through his legs? This is what Joseph Asai is forever going to be known for. So yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks for him. I kind of want to send this card for John Sibley because I know you were really bummed out about that because you're watching for LSU and you're watching for Joe Burrow, and then you have one of your Texas guys. I hate that for you, John Sibley. Okay, I got you. I'll send it out to you tomorrow. Let's go to Ed Super Chat. Does LSU make a splash tomorrow? I don't think so. I don't think, there's that defensive tackle from Marist who could sign with LSU. Obviously, LSU could use a few more. And then obviously there's just not a whole lot of just uncommitted guys that I've read about, right? It's the downside, right? It used to be that you had this later period and then, you had the early period. So yeah, it's crazy. So my question, I'll throw it out to everybody. Does LSU make a splash tomorrow? Is there somebody out there you think is going to commit to LSU tomorrow? I might be missing everything because I'm going to be honest, I've been very focused on getting wedding stuff done this week. Obviously, it's the biggest day of your life, or at least they tell you that. And Saturday, I've been doing wedding stuff all day. So I haven't really been paying as close attention as I normally do because I want to make sure that all my ducks are in a row. I don't want to get yelled at on Saturday. That's all I got to say. So, yeah, I mean, it's very unfortunate. Ed, thank you so much for your generosity. I really appreciate you. Yes, it was indeed. I knew Skipper would know. But Roger Dodger, a youngin, he actually is a Red Sox. Bill Buckner, the famous Red Sox. Okay. I shouldn't say that. Because I know we got some Red Sox fans that are listening. Looks like he's going to Wisconsin. No, sadly. Yeah, it's crazy. So there's Doug Nose right there. There's no splash for anyone tomorrow. Only 2.5% of the top 300 are unsigned per Shea Dixon. Yeah, and then, I shared that stat from Williston Alexander. Only 8 of the top 450, 247 guys. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Like, I think at this point, you coaches are asking, why haven't these kids already signed? For me, I struggled with this younger in my life. I had crippling, and I mean crippling indecisiveness, right? Like it makes me feel so bad how indecisive I can be about whatever. And that's part of, being an adult, right? And I can't imagine an 18-year-old kid having to decide this very big decision, right? You go on all these recruiting visits, you see all these people, and they make you feel wonderful inside, and they give you the best care, the best food, and all that. Um, so the answer to this question to Ed Super Chat is nobody. I don't think anybody tomorrow will be signing with LSU, right? And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing, because it'd be one thing if there was like 50 like 4-star or better players that are still available. It's just not the culture now. Everybody signs early. And, I'm telling you, there's not many athletes that like to do things that other athletes don't do. And like, it's a trend thing, and you see that all the time in pretty much every profession, right? If you go to any Fortune 500 company, all the men in there are going to be wearing blue button downs, right? Now, a red button down shirt would probably look okay, or a white one, but most just like to wear a light blue button down because people like uniformity. That's just how society works. And in this case, everybody likes signing early, even if you're not enrolling until the fall, right? It doesn't make sense if you are not enrolling until the fall to not sign later, right? Because what you can do is you can use more leverage for the later signing period and say, hey, so and so's trying to swoop in here at the last second. I need X more dollars or X more promises for me to sign with you. But that's just not what kids like to do. And honestly, I think that's probably a smart thing. Unless you really need more money. Huh? 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 But something else is, I understand that the 25 slots are no longer a thing. You could sign as many portal guys and high school players as you possibly want. But something else is the transfer portal is also unlimited as well. So let's say you're a 3-star defensive line. Let's say, let's just use an example here, Dylan Carpenter, right? Let's say you're a 3-star Louisiana defensive lineman, and LSU, the dream school gives you the offer. It's probably smart for you to sign, right? Because if you don't, they might just get a portal guy to take your slot, right? And insert any 3-stars name in that equation, and that slot might go to a portal guy. So yeah, it's very interesting. Something else I'll bring up, you know, from this vantage point. Uh, I get asked a lot about player X. What about, so and so's name that just entered the portal? It is hard to keep up with all this. It really, really, really is. Um, Ja'Kai Clark is still undecided at this point, or at least I think he's still undecided. But that's the thing. If you're a graduate transfer, I think you can sign whenever you want. And he obviously is a graduate transfer, is a year 5 guy. So there you go. Yeah, Branson, the question I would ask is, what's the point, right? What would be the point of just bringing in a 3-star just for 3-star sakes? Now, if you have a good grade on them, then yeah, bring them in, see what you can. But that can go to a portal guy who's a little bit more proven up to this point. And look, I'll say this, and I take evaluation very seriously. I like to think that I'm right on certain things. I did a lot better for this class than I normally do. But, you know, this is a lot of guessing, right? These coaches are doing a lot of guessing. There's so many factors that go into you being a good player, right? And honestly, I think the biggest factor that you cannot quantify when you're actually recruiting a player is the speed of the game, right? Now, you can't quantify how a person is going to act, you know, culturally with going to a college and moving away from your home from the first time and taking classes and all the pressure that goes along with being a Division One athlete, NIL or whatever the case may be. But the one thing I see the most is just speed of the game issues, right? When they take the next step, can you adjust to everything moving just faster? And if you really listen to like these player interviews where elite athletes go on with other players, the one thing that they always say is the speed of the game is the biggest thing that changes from one level to the next, right? And from someone who has gotten to go to a lot of NBA games and has also gotten to watch a lot of middle tier college basketball live, it is amazing. Like when I'm watching it live, it kind of looks like things are moving fast at a collegiate level, but then I'll shoot a video and rewatch it. I'm like, man, this is not going as fast as I thought it was going to. And then I'll put an NBA game on or go to an NBA game, and it's just like a different world. And going from high school to Division One, some people can't adjust. Things are just moving too fast. It's processing information at a high level. It's how well do you handle adversity? How well do you handle coaching? And a lot of it is just quick twitch kind of stuff. So yeah. There you go, Chance. Great minds think alike. Transfer portal taking the remaining slots. Uh, that's why we recruit. You want them to look way faster than all the other high school players, and it should be more dramatic the lower level they're playing in high school. Exactly. So if you want to know what I look for immediately, and it's hard to gauge those kinds of things, but when you're watching a high school player, and if you are watching their huddle or their tape or whatever, see if you think they are handling, are they struggling with the competition? How easy are they defeating whichever opposition is in front of them? Um, that's why like Emory Jones was just so big for me. Like when I saw Emory Jones the first time, I felt like he was different. I felt like he was not playing high school football. I felt like this guy was like truly running faster than the linebackers. Let's go to John Sibley with the big fat super chat, our biggest of the evening. Thanks to Skipper. Thanks to Ed, also super chatting. I love it. Bayou Traditions NIL is launched. Will fans accept with open arms? I will moan, but probably be a big donor. Yeah, okay. So I'll chat a little bit about this because I did release a big video on it. We did get a very big super chat. I appreciate your donations to me, John Sibley. This time of the year does, with no football happening, it's a little depressing, but I also love this time of the year because you really got to work to earn your viewers and your super chats and all of that. So thank you so much. I really appreciate this. But yeah, this is kind of crazy, right? Whenever you get to this point and you have your favorite university ask for money, right? When people ask for money, it's always like, I have to balance that, right? Like, when do I ask people to buy merch? Every time you buy merch from me, especially if I'm the one shipping it, more often than not, you're getting a little something extra. And tonight, of course, we're giving out a Will Campbell autograph photo for someone to go get some PHO merch. Okay. But it's one of those things though where like if you're looking at me Yeah, I'm fine. I do fine, but I am not LSU. I'm not affiliated with LSU at all. And when big bad LSU is asking you for money, you're like, oh, LSU, they made 35 million in profit off the football program this year, and they brought in $99 million in revenue. Uh, why do they need my money, right? Uh, so it's not so much like people donating like $5 or $10 a month, right? Like, for me, I pay a lot of subscription services, right? Because I like supporting other creators. I like just supporting different initiatives. And if you want, join the PHL Patreon for a bunch of exclusive coverage, including our PHL Discord. So for me, I think anytime you pay for a subscription, you're really helping out a university. And the reason why I say that is because, or you're helping out whichever organization, is they can count on that money being there every month. Now, people cancel subscriptions all the time. That's not what I'm saying. But the truth is, a lot of people like LSU. Look, we have 69 viewers. Nice. A lot of people do like um the subscription model where you're donating a certain amount and it's going straight into the bank account each and every week. Right? You're not thinking about it. You're either paying an annual amount or you're paying a monthly amount, whatever the case may be. So, you know, we'll see how Bayou Traditions works out. I think the biggest thing, John Sibley, though, with Bayou Traditions is what you don't want to happen is what happened with Jaden Rashada, right? I know that was just one instance where most NIL deals have gone smoothly up to this point. But, for me, John Sibley, I look at, the landscape of college football. LSU needed to do this. Alabama just unveiled a NIL center, like a center that's just dedicated for getting name, image, and likeness deals done. So that's everybody. Everybody's just trying to pay catch up to one another. Something else, and I'll continue to be this way about NIL because Brant had a very good comment about this. Are we behind on NIL? Because you brought up Todd Graves, you brought up Gordon, and those two have done an excellent job. But I think we have to ask ourselves this question as well. What exactly is NIL? Where exactly does this money go? How does it get divvied up? It's crazy, right? It makes you wonder, hey, what are we doing with all this money? Where does this money go? Who decides what to do with this money? And when people donate, like for instance, if you are paying whatever it is to Bayou Traditions, you don't know where that money's going. It's going to help the student athletes, right? But when you donate to a content creator, or if you donate to like a toy drive or something like that, you have kind of an idea of where that money is going. Right now, we just don't know a whole lot about NIL. I think a lot of universities are trying to feel this stuff out themselves. So I love the rollout of Bayou Traditions. I love the fact that they had Tyrann Mathieu do a video. They had Scott Woodward do a video. But at the same time, I think they're like a lot of people slowly and surely trying to figure this thing out. Oh, did I switch cameras? So I'm not using the fancy camera tonight because I'm actually doing an experiment to see if people can notice a difference. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Did you notice that I'm using the lower definition camera? Did you notice that until Marcus actually brought this up? One Taco Bell Mexican pizza a month? Huh? 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 Uh, it looks a little darker. Skipper didn't notice. Doug didn't notice. TOV notice. Jason. Oh God, I always got this crazy Jason photo somewhere. Where is it? There he is. Look at this. I've never seen somebody so happy for PHL merch. So Jason, I hooked him up, man. I gave him a Joe Burrow, Tyrann Mathieu card. Looks like we got a Mike Evans in there as well. Got a DJ Chark. You got a PHL sticker, a book band, and an LSU National Championship T-shirt. Jason, you're spoiled rotten. It's good to see that beautiful smile of yours, man. Looks like marriage dress. Ha! I'm actually cool as a cucumber right now. Let's go to Ed, who super chatted a little earlier. Will Arch Manning succeed after coming from a small school and lower competition? I'm actually I'll throw that to John Sibley. You let me know, John Sibley, if you think a great Arch. Some of you noticed, some of you didn't. The one thing I like about doing this camera is the audio is better synced with my camera, or at least I think it looks that way. When I have the nicer camera, it's like just a little bit off. It's not like the worst, but I've been trying to fix it for quite some time. Eric says, sadly, we need government intervention to regulate the NIL buffet. I've actually thought about this as well. What I think's Oh yeah, the 50K subscription gives you a video from an LSU athlete. If I'm getting the 50K, I would want minimum Jarvis Landry giving me a shout out and like an autograph, game use, something. We'll talk a little bit more Saints a little bit later. I know a lot of you want to talk Sean Payton. But we are an LSU football channel first. Good to see you, H-Town Creole. Who's the master? What quote is this movie from? Anybody willing to guess this? Who's the master? Thank you, John Sibley. I really appreciate you. I got a Joseph Asai card going out to you, my man. Put this in a penny sleeve already. There you go. Mad Max. If I'm paying 50K, they better give me a ring if we win anything. Is it from The Last Dragon? That was just kind of a random comment. But I love H-Town Creole, my fellow Creoles. Let's go. Let's go to John Sibley here. So it is The Last Dragon. Arch Manning will be great. He's 6'4" with a great arm. I'm predicting that he'll be good. We go to the NFL combines. The numbers or on arm strength is important, not small or big school. Yeah. So this is what I'll say about Arch, right? So obviously last week I had the good fortune to meet the Mannings. So I've always shared that I'm a huge Peyton and Eli fan. So that was obviously a big opportunity for me. That's not going to change my thoughts on Arch Manning, though, who I think is a very good 4-star level quarterback prospect. He was not my number one guy. He wasn't. I thought the Nico kid was number one that went to Tennessee. And the funny thing is, it's kind of like with Cade Klubnik, right? So Cade Klubnik for this last cycle was always my number one guy, and he ended up being the number one guy. Nico was always my number one guy, and now he is the number two guy when he's been like the number 5 or 6 guy this whole time. He's now only behind Arch. Okay. So I think Arch is going to be a fine Division I college quarterback. I do. When I watched him, obviously he was amazing. At Newman, but I think there's still some developing there, but what we do know is he had the best quarterback mentorship a human could possibly have growing up. So, I think Arch is going to be a good starter, right? And I've always felt that way. There's no reason for him to be the consensus number one overall guy on every recruiting service. Nobody should ever be that. You would need to be Leonard Fournette mixed with Jadeveon Clowney mixed with Myles Garrett, and you better run a 4-2 running backwards for everybody to agree you are the absolute best prospect. I thought that was a little weird for a while, and I'm glad that didn't end up happening, but all of them still had him as like a top 10 guy. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Let's go to Rico. Rico, there we go. Bama needs a QB. What if Saban brings back Doug Nussmeier as the OC? You got to stir it up a bit here. What would Garrett do? Okay. So, brought this up on a Power Hour SEC video about Nick Saban. All right. What if Nick Saban brought back Doug Nussmeier? I brought his name up. Bama fans hated me for it. Right. They're like, Doug Nussmeier. Doug Nussmeier was the worst offensive coordinator under Nick Saban in Alabama. And they look just like this. It sounded just like that. I don't know what that sounds like. So, Doug Nussmeier to Alabama. Very interesting. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think one thing that's fascinating is the Cowboys have fired a bunch of their coaching staff. Kellen Moore's now with the Chargers. Does Doug stay with Dallas? I don't know. I don't know what his next move is in coaching. But Saban is really close to Bill Belichick, right? And obviously Bill took Saban's OC, Bill O'Brien, and probably Saban in like that. But if you're an older coach, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? You're trying to stick with what you know, and he obviously knows Doug Nussmeier. Would Doug Nussmeier want to come back in the SEC to be a play caller? Maybe he would. Maybe he wouldn't. Would Garrett go join Doug at Alabama? I don't think so. The one thing I have learned about Garrett Nussmeier, right, from doing just a little bit of research, I've never talked to Garrett Nussmeier in my life. Never. Spoken to people close to him. Spoke to one of his high school classmates who's been on. You've seen him a few times on the channel. He thinks for himself. He really does. Like he is his own person. And I think let's just say Doug Nussmeier was hired by Nick Saban at Alabama. I think Doug would. I think Garrett would stay. I mean, if you're Garrett at this point, you've worked your way up the ladder all the way here. Why not wait? Why not wait to see if you're going to be the guy in 2024? And heck, you might be the guy in 2023. But thank you, Rico. It's good to see you. I always love seeing the Roberto Clemente avatar. Uh-oh. We got a PHL icon up in this thing. What up, Nurse Court? Good to see you. It's one of my best buds right there. Nurse Court is the only PHLer I saw at both PHL get-together events, not only in New Orleans, but in Baton Rouge. Good to see you. Met your friend as well. She was very cool. So there you have it. But yeah, there's going to be a bunch of Arch Manning discourse. So there you go. Now, speaking of PHL meetups, take a look at this. These are some photos from, a few other meetups we've done. This is the SEC championship game. There's a PHLer van right there, Stetson. I say Stetson. That's obviously Aaron Murray. There's Jason. There's Rome. I bet Saban will get Joe Brady. That's actually Slade Roy's family. There's Nurse Court right there. T-Pain. There's Steve right there. I called Steve earlier. BT. This is from the New Orleans get-together. And there's Nurse Court in the bottom left. New Orleans get-together was so much fun this year at Stumpy's. This was at the Bama game. Crazy stuff. There's Jay Hill. Walker Howard's better than Arch Manning. There's Marcus. Marcus has been in here. There's my buddy, Sherry Berry, our latest PHL champion. I think you guys know who that is. There's DJ Pizza. Z Baby. Ha, 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 ha. There you go. There's Shane. A lot of you know that face. Will. This is a dealer. I don't even remember that guy's name. D and Black Goatee. There's Ty. We're going to have Ty back on here pretty soon. There's another PHL legend, Tyler. Surprised Bama didn't go after Dante more. I think Dante's really good. I do. Look at that. How about that? Well, there you go. That's the thing. I only like to meet up with you guys in person. The virtual stuff is great. This is a lot of fun. But the PHL get-togethers are where it's at. That's where it's at, baby. Atlanta was a lot of fun. Let's go to Kareem Super Chat. How about them Lady Tigers? What are your thoughts, predictions on the South Carolina game coming up? I love a good Super Chat about another LSU sport. Once again, we are LSU football 95% of the time, okay? But always feel free to Super Chat about anything. And I mean anything, okay? Now, not anything, but anything. But yeah, I will very, very, very happily talk about the LSU women's basketball team. Okay, I got to watch a good bit of the Tennessee game yesterday. I thought that they went in cruise control a little bit in that third quarter where the intensity went down a little bit. And, I didn't like that. I felt like we got a little lackadaisical. And that could happen, right? You could lose focus. The game was so big. You had the most iconic brand in the SEC as the other team. You had, just this huge crowd. But they're obviously really good, right? I know the SEC is not the absolute deepest conference in women's basketball either. But, yeah, I mean, LSU is still undefeated. And now, of course, on February 12th, they got that South Carolina game coming up. They got some other games coming up as well. South Carolina is, the program in the sport now, right? With Dawn Staley and Aaliyah Boston. And, LSU can obviously beat them in a very regular season setting. But yeah, if you win that game and you're still undefeated, no matter what happens in the SEC championship or a tournament, you're looking pretty good for a 1 seed, right? But yeah, just on a macro scale, obviously Kim Mulkey has done great things, right? She has really put this program on the map, and hopefully LSU women's basketball will become a thing. And it already was a thing with Sylvia Fowles and Van Chancellor and Simone Augustus. I actually met Simone in high school, or when she was in high school. She and my grandmother were awarded an NAACP award on the same night. It was one of the best nights of my life. I was little. My grandmother Elaine, she passed when I was well, how old was I? I don't remember. Lucky enough, my other two grandparents are still alive. And yeah, I've always been a big Simone Augustus fan. That's always been my favorite. I still got to go see the statue, which is really cool. But her getting the statue and then having the photo with Angel Reese when Angel Reese was younger, and now Angel Reese transfers to LSU and she has this 21 game double streak. It's just good stuff. It's just good juju all around. So, oh man, it was so long ago, but I appreciate that. But yeah, I've always, I've always loved LSU women's basketball, and my favorite PMAC memory, and I brought it up a few times here, was when freaking Maya Moore, who is a force, in UConn, Maya Moore came to the PMAC and played Sylvia Fowles, and it's crazy that they became teammates. They won the game, obviously Gino Oriama, but that was probably, you'd have to go back to some of these Shaquille O'Neal matchups. That was probably like the last time we had like a ton of icons on the PMAC floor all at once, right? They were all on the floor, which is just crazy. Sylvia Fowles, Maya Moore, Van Chancellor, Gino Oriama. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. But it's cool. Kim Mulkey is obviously in that same tier, and Angel Reese is moving her way closer to that tier. 45 Morris, I believe is her last name. She's a really good player. She's got a sick handle. That was so cool. Jacques Doucet revealing that her favorite player is Allen Iverson. It is amazing. Allen Iverson's influence. Like, AI was so different. And, if AI wasn't in like the Kobe era and the post Jordan era, I think we would talk a little bit more about him, but it's just crazy. Like, he's still like huge where, you know, 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old people know AI. Like, they know who that is. It's just so cool to me. If you were alive during the Allen Iverson Georgetown years and then the question and answer, and you had the shooter sleeve and the baggy shorts and the step over a Tyronn Lue, that stuff was just so iconic, right? And AI changed the culture of the NBA. So yeah. Yeah, JT, uh, I just can't do it, right? I just think baseball is one of those sports because there's so many games, and you got these midweek games, got this stupid scholarship rule. I think the game should be 7 innings instead of 9. I think it's better for the players. I think it's better for the sport. Um, Here's the thing. Big Daddy Blake comes after me when I share that with them. That college baseball should be 7 inning games instead of 9. Um, Still, LSU baseball is going to be really good, right? They're putting Dylan Cruz up there with the Alex Bregmans of the world, which is really cool. It was really cool. So, yeah, LSU baseball. I got to go to Omaha. The last time LSU won the College World Series, I was there for the full 2 weeks. Got to go to the zoo, got to eat at the Drover, and that was at the old Rosenblatt. Never forget that. Second coolest sporting event I've ever gotten to witness. And LSU sent me. That was really cool. So, not LSU athletics, but I was at LSU, and KLSU, the student radio station, sent me there. It was a lot of fun. I'll never forget that. Allen Iverson telling that story is so great too. Like he said, yeah, I crossed him up, but if you actually go look at the video, MJ almost still blocked a shot. If you want to see how good Jordan is, it's actually that clip. Like, oftentimes when you see how good an athlete truly is when they actually look bad. It's their recovery speed. I shared this Chad Jones story last week, and I want to have Chad Jones on the channel so bad. We were close, and I'm going to try again this offseason. But there's a video, and I couldn't find it on YouTube, but there's a video of Chad Jones getting decked by Dexter McCluster, and he pops right back up in like half a second. Like, the great athletes, even when they get schooled, they're right back up, ready for the next play, right? But yeah, Jordan getting crossed by Iverson. That's such a cool clip, and Jordan still almost got back and blocked the shot. It's just Jordan was different, man. Don't need, and I know it's a big week for Braun fans. This is a Jordan channel. Just gonna let you guys know. Huh? I knew my baseball diehards were gonna come after me for this. Okay. There's a reason though. Okay. There's a reason. All right. And by the way, I like LeBron too, but this is a Jordan channel. Jordan will always be number one on this channel. Always. Okay. You youngins are going to come in and say, well, there's no way. There's no way. Okay. You believe that. Let's Gizzo. Okay. So I'll answer this. I've known Doug for a while. We're going to hang out in Pineville, drink some beers, do Pineville things. Here's why I think 7-inning games are a necessity, or at least do the midweek games, 7-inning games, right? These are 11.7 scholarship players, right? We can't throw these kids' arms out when their scholarship's not even fully paid for, right? We have all these other sports that are like, I mean, LSU baseball actually does end up in the black every year, but, you know, we got all these freaking sports that have plenty of scholarships for their athletes, and baseball, which needs a crap ton of players for them to be good, you're only going to give them 11.7 scholarships total. It's not every year you get a fresh 11.7. It's total for the whole roster. You only get that. That's your maximum. So that is horse manure, right? It's stupid. And then the third assistant payment thing, it's BS. I don't like, they treat college baseball like a second class sport. This comes from someone that doesn't really like college baseball, right? I'll just be honest with you. Like, I like it better than pros, but I mean, I used to be a baseball guy. It's just not really my thing anymore. But I'd be the first to tell you that is the dumbest, most egregious thing we have in college sports. But anyway, 9-inning games are just a drag, and you don't have big rosters. If one of the kids decides, hey, I'm not playing this year, I'm going to the majors, you're even more screwed. And if somebody gets hurt, God forbid that happen, you are quadruple screwed. It's too many innings. It's too much. And then you have this stuff where, there's flight plans and the Sunday game, and just keep them all 7 innings. Rants Cat. Pelican season ticket holders are hoping for that. Let's go to Crossroads here. Is that a photo with the legendary Eddie Kinnison? If so, that's pretty cool. Who wins a natty first, LSU baseball, women's basketball, or football? It's a very good question. Okay. So, NFL young boy, good to see you. Let's start with Sherry's coming. Sherry normally agrees with me, but she's coming after me. I get it. I'd be interested, though, in an anonymous poll of all college baseball players. Would you prefer to play 7-inning games? Okay. Yeah, I think Rafe Rhymes did this as well. Okay. I think Rafe Rhymes gave up his scholarship for the team. Jared, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. What's it amount to? So nobody gets a full scholarship in baseball, right? Rarely do they give them out. This was like 10 years ago when Bill Frankus told me that he doesn't think that LSU baseball players ever had a full scholarship. But what I'll say is this, all right. Who will win a national championship first? LSU women's basketball, LSU football, or LSU baseball? The issue with this is I think it's easier as a dominant team to win a national championship in women's basketball. I think it's a little bit easier because oftentimes you don't really see like a lot of miracle runs by women's basketball teams, right? And I think LSU is a little bit closer to where they can be the top dog in LSU women's basketball or just women's basketball than football is to being the absolute top dog in the sport, right? Because it takes a lot. Like, it's going to take a lot for us to start out recruiting Alabama if Saban is still there. It's going to take a lot for us to start out recruiting Georgia with Kirby still there. So I'm not saying it's unattainable. It's just going to be harder. I could see Kim Mulkey getting LSU women's basketball as, at the very least, the number 3 program in the sport behind only South Carolina and Gino Oriama and UConn. So I would guess LSU women's basketball would be the first to win a national championship. I would. The thing about baseball is, yes, LSU is the number 1 team, but baseball is random. You cannot just look at a baseball team and say, hey, this team is going to win the national championship. Number 1, the postseason format is just way too random. Number 2, the regular season is such a grind. And number 3, baseball's a sport of the upsets, right? Like, it's just harder to put together a very dominant roster that's just going to run everybody over. So I would right now say women's basketball would be the first to win a national championship. Number 1, I get a little extra value in this contest, in this question, because they can win it this year. They very well could. South Carolina's got what they have, but I think LSU women's basketball can get it done. I think they can. Thank you, Branson Cat. Thank you. One day, when the sport goes to 7 innings, you guys are going to come and worship me for telling you how much better it's going to make the sport. Now, I know we're going to disagree with that, but that's the beauty of PHL. I'm not going to block you if you disagree with me on that. Okay? I'm not. I'm telling you, though. Okay? My one thing I'll say, though, I know that opinion falls on deaf ears when at the same time I say, hey, I myself am not a big baseball fan. So that's just me giving a neutral opinion on this. Okay? When Jeter and Rivera retired from the Yankees, my interest in baseball just dissipated. I don't know exactly why. I played AAU baseball, but yeah, it just wasn't really my thing, right? Let's go. Hey, I'm loving these $5 super chats from Kareem. Y'all show some clap emojis for Kareem, man. He's one of our newest PHLers. I love it. Kareem, I hope you think about joining our PHL Patreon. I love it. Keep it going. Keep it going. Do you think Juwan Johnson will commit to LSU on National Signing Day? And do you think LSU will stay at number 6 recruiting ranking after NSD? Okay, so last I checked, he is committing on the 4th. I believe. I could be totally wrong on that. Like I said, my mind has been a jumbled mess getting ready for my big day on Saturday. So if I am not as sharp as I normally am on every last recruiting announcement, you guys feel free to correct me. Okay. So yeah, I think for me, I think he's going to pick LSU. I do. Right. I've seen some of his tweets. He went to LCA, LSU. Think of all the LCA kids that they've gotten: Sage Ryan, Fitzgerald West, Jordan Allen. He's probably next, right? So I think you should feel pretty good about him going to LSU, right? Now the more important question is going to be his best position. He is an athlete, right? He's really good at a lot of different positions, right? He probably won't be a quarterback, but you could see him as a receiver. You could see him as just a pure slot receiver. You could see him as a DB, honestly. Special teams ace. He's an athlete. So so yeah. And as far as 2024s are concerned, obviously Trey Green and Manny Singleton are going to be the top dogs. It's going to take a lot for like Johnson to, unseat them. Once again, we talked about KOLAJ COBBINS a little bit earlier. I hope I'm saying that young man's name correctly. I watched a good bit of him today, and yeah, I actually like Johnson. I do. LSU football ending at halftime would quell some crying about fans leaving and traffic issues. Hot take, Bryant. So I should have mentioned this. I'm horrible at this. We do have the brand new Power Hour LSU Facebook page. I launched a Facebook page. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't get on Facebook hardly at all anymore. But I launched it, Power Hour LSU on Facebook, and I'm going live on I've been live on Facebook. And two people have shared this. That's cool. Let's see. That's pretty cool. Man, Facebook is a weird place. Forbes, what's up? What's up, Pressure? Who's better than JD5? Good question. It's a good question. I think KJ Jefferson's better. Come after me all you want. Now, notice I didn't say that JD5 isn't great. It's obviously a very good quarterback. I think KJ is special. I do. I only have Caleb Williams ahead of KJ Jefferson. I think KJ Jefferson is a better college quarterback than Drake May. Come after me all you want. It's perfectly fine. KJ is that dude, though. KJ is that mother effing dude. Okay. Thank you, Danny girl. I knew Danny, who had not commented yet. She sometimes just lurks and listens in the background. I know she'll come to my need. Pause. That was a big pause. But I know she will support me when I have a take such as that one that is going to get slaughtered. I've already been slaughtered tonight. Hot take Bryant right here for my freaking college baseball take a minute ago. Okay. But KJ Jefferson is the most disrespected quarterback in this sport. All right. KJ special as a lucky dog on Bourbon Street. Oh man. Okay. MySpace, me and Tom. Me and Tom, baby. Let's go. All right. So I'll explain my KJ Jefferson take. All right. As someone who watches all the other SEC teams, when I tell you that Arkansas supporting cast is dog water, they had a good running back, Raheem Sanders. He's good. I don't think he's special. I think he's good. He led the SEC in rushing, but I think that had a lot to do with volume. I think he's a very, very good back. And they had a very good center, right? Other than that, it's not really that great. So his receivers don't really get open. Outside of Matt Landers, that was the only receiver they had this year that got open. All the other guys were thrown open, or KJ threw a pass rusher off of him, and he just made ridiculous play after ridiculous play after ridiculous play. He did not have a bad game. Go look at the numbers. He did not have a bad game versus a Power 5 team all year. Not one. He only had one bad game this year. One bad game against Liberty on one leg. He should not have played in the game. He didn't even practice that week. And they still suited him up, and he still went out there. He did not have a bad game. And the thing about it is Arkansas had no wins this year. They had their weakest opponent on their schedule this year was Missouri State with Bobby Petrino, and they almost lost that game. And it took KJ Jefferson doing some superhuman stuff for them to win that game. The guy carried a bad defense, a historically bad defense, right? Dwight McGlothern was the second best player on that defense, right? The second best player on that defense. That lets you know something, right? This was a not great team. Arkansas is a 2-win team, 2 or 3-win team if KJ's not their quarterback. Okay. I'm telling you, if there's anything that I will die on, is this guy is special. He is freaking special, right? And if you want an example of it, go look at when he started as a his first ever start was versus 2019 LSU in our building. He was honestly fine, all things considered, right? He was running into the best team of all time. This guy is mature. He's well above his years. He's got football IQ for days. And I just think he's special. I really do. I know it looks a little unorthodox. I know he's got a new play caller. We'll see how that looks without Bryles this year. But the more I watched them, the more I was like, KJ is the system. So this isn't me saying, hey, I don't think JD5 isn't good. I think JD5 is very good. I just think KJ's that dude. I really do think so. Yeah. KJ is just a little bit better version of Anthony Richardson. Yeah, I think AR obviously is just way faster, but yeah, they're very similar. Obviously, Richardson his athleticism is just through the roof, but uh, but yeah, you guys know one of our most objective viewers is Danny, and look, he agrees with me. KJ is that dude. Justin Timberlake. Not only Justin Timberlake bought MySpace, Justin Timberlake's birthday is today. Did you know that? And to this comment, I say, bye, bye, bye to the next one. I was so lame. I had to do a dad joke with his golden boot, and he loves good dad jokes. All right. Cry me a river if you didn't like that one. All right, I'm done. Saints can use your third rounder to draft JD. What's up, Creek? Good to see you. Yeah, I agree with this. I'm telling you, I really do think KJ's good. It does. It looks like he's playing in slow motion. I think, a good comp to him is Vince Young. Honestly, I don't think he's that good on it. There's not many people who are as good as Vince Young, but they're very similar. They're very similar. Um, but yeah, KJ's that dude. He just plays on a bad team. I don't think we could do Anthony Richardson stuff tonight. I've gotten so many messages about that. Um, I have gotten a lot of messages about that interaction yesterday. Here's my thing with Anthony Richardson, right? When I am drafting a quarterback, right, I'm wanting to swing for the fences. Like I want to go for it all, right? I don't want to draft Sam Darnold where I don't see like upside, right? I never saw Sam Darnold do anything truly extraordinary. I like Anthony Richardson's accuracy numbers are just so bad and they're all over the place. But his wide receiver room was a mess. Florida had a lot of single digit numbers, not play like single digit numbers. Um, and I just think athletically he just gives me a lot. And if everything were to, coalesce and come together, he's I think he could be very I think he could be very good, right? Let's say, if you're the Ravens, you're sitting there and let's just say you franchise tag Lamar Jackson, why not see if the system could run through AR? I mean, I don't think it would, but it would be worth a look see, right? Before, if you have reservations about paying Lamar all the guaranteed money. So, yeah. Come on, the Crimea River one was better. The Crimea River pun was a little bit better, Doug. Yeah, you have to admit. So Branson's out on Anthony. Vince Young won a natty and could play any position. He has no VY. Yeah, I don't think KJ's that good, but someone asked me for a comp. I think they're pretty similar. There you go. There's an NFL comp. I think it's Vince. Vince was a fine NFL quarterback. It wasn't spectacular. I am too greater than 40. Oh, if you're over 40, you're disqualified from QB conversations? Really, Pressure? Really? So if freaking Kurt Warner was if Peyton Manning was sitting right here next to me and he gave his opinion on quarterbacks, you would say, "No, I don't think you're qualified. I don't think you know." Come on. Come on. If the great Greg Cosell was standing next to me, I am. Look at that. What color is that? Oh, by the way, it's the same color as my hat. I am a proud proud 46-year-old. Don't hate. You know what they say, Creole don't crack. Proud 46-year-old man right here. Right here. 46 of them on you. Oh, man. And finally getting married at 46. Pierce, I was not bringing up Arch with Peyton. Now, I had not the longest time to hang out with those three legends. So we talked a little X's and O's. We talked, YouTube and all that stuff, and it was great. It was great. Roger. Tell him Crossroads 46. Let's go. Let's go, man. I love that. Like the 40. This live has been a lot of fun, man. This live has been a lot of fun. Now, here's the truth. There is only one thing better than being a wonderfully aged 46-year-old man like myself. Okay? There's only one thing. One. Whoa. Who got it? Skipper! Skipper. It was close. Let's see what the let's see. Skipper got in right before Tony. Skipper got in. I love it. I freaking love it. The Skipper was ready. So Presley helped create Saturday. I want Presley to help create that special moment with you. Presley Collection, PresleyCollection.com. It's not just rings. It's not just necklaces. It's not just all of that. It's all about you. Necklaces, pendants, pearls, all of it. Anything jewelry related, I get you a one-on-one consultation with Presley Collection, and I guarantee you can get you a lower price and a better bang for your buck and a better diamond. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked at what the ring actually was going to be worth if we would have, done online and all that stuff. So, yeah. Skipper won it for LA Mom tonight. There we go. I saw LA Mom in here a little bit earlier. Tell him, Nurse Court, us 46-year-olds, they're not ready for us. Carter isn't 46 because he doesn't call Darius Rucker Hootie. That's funny. That's funny. Nurse Court, that's not true. I just saw it. That can't be true. I think that's just a meme. Yeah, it's a meme. That would be pretty crazy, though. There she is. She's in lurking. The blowfish. Let's go. I wanna be you. But type Y for yes, type in for no. I've got to connect with my fellow 46-year-olds. Okay. I just celebrated the big 4-6 this past week. Okay. So actually 8 days ago, type Y for yes, type in for no if you are 45 and above. I've got to connect. You know, got to get this colonoscopy scheduled soon. ARP, all that stuff. Where are my fellow 45s and up? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me see ya. Because remember, you guys know a few weeks ago, somebody was in here calling me ageist. Ageist, me. I am too. Danny, you didn't tell me you were a Janny baby too. Let's go. DJ Pizza, Skipper. Skipper was here for the ageist remarks. Like Skipper's like one of like PHL's best viewers. And Skipper is proud to be known as an old schooler. And he has all my Billy Cannon cards too, by the way. He's got my Billy Cannon. He's got a Burt Jones. I think he got a Charles Alexander. I know if I get an old school autograph, I know to give it out to Skipper. Okay. I'm 3-10. I love it. Score. Oh, man. I love it, man. We're getting Gettysburg-y up in this thing with the word score. I love it. I love it. Members only jackets. I'm telling you, if you were not born before, now that's what I'm talking about. What's the name of the music CDs where they put all the hits? Now that's what I call music. Isn't that the name? There's like 50 versions of it. But if you were not born during the Soul Train era, I don't want anything to do with you. I want anything to do with you. Oh man. 4 score. Caesars special bet. Carter Bryant over under 46. Hey Caesars, if you're watching this and you need a betting sponsor, I got the most diehard fan base right here hanging out. I need to get a sportsbook sponsor. I don't have any sportsbook sponsors. $77, baby. Let's go. So Dylan asked me what the late 1900s is like. I almost I could imagine. I could imagine Dylan walking up to you saying, that does make you sound so old. What is the late 19? That is so funny. Oh my god. Oh, that's so funny. Oh. Hey, Abby Celestin. Age ain't nothing but a number. I'm 46 and run triathlons, right? So sad to share, I am not 46. I am not. I feel like I'm an old soul. Like my knees already hurt. I've got tendonitis already. And I used to run all the time. I've won a 5K before. I know it doesn't look like it, but I am 34. I just turned 34. Okay. Branson thought I was 33 the whole time. I just turned 34. So uh it is interesting though. Like it, what I will say though, like how many of you I am curious about this, and I promise we'll do some more LSU football stuff. How many of you are married to somebody that is 7 years older or younger than you are? How many of you are um how many of you are married to somebody 7 years older or younger than you are? You should still feel empowered crossroads. You still should. You shouldn't feel any more or less about that. My wife is 20. Wait, what? 28 years younger? Well, I hope you're in your 60s because if not, um, the FBI would be knocking on your door right now. 28 years younger? That is crazy. Like, I mean, what in the are you Dane Cook? What 28 is insane. I don't know. Your picture's a mountain, so I don't know. Mine's 5 years younger. Oh, you're super rich. Makes sense. So you are Dane Cook. JK, man, of course not. Yeah, 2 years in anything, right? Like that's normal. You know, I once dated a girl that was 9 years or 8.5 years older than me. And she thought I was older. And I thought she was younger for like the first few weeks we were dating. And that was just strange. It was strange. It wasn't a big deal. And yeah, she was older than me though. She had older friends, and it was a little different. Brittany's 7 years younger than you. Yeah, it's interesting, right? You look young though, Marcus. Like you don't look that old. I've seen the photo of her wife. She's beautiful. Got a beautiful family. Uh, and congrats, you just got married in Denver. I don't think seven's. I really don't think seven's that big. I think like 10 because like when I was 8 years younger, I didn't feel like it didn't feel strange once I learned that. Now it might have been that I thought that she was younger and she thought that I was older. But yeah, I don't think seven's too crazy. I'm still the young parent when we do school functions. You're married to someone 8 years younger than me. But Abby, you run triathlons. You say you're 46, you run triathlons. I would have never thought you were 46, right? This photo, I thought you would be like my age. I'm serious. Uh, so I get it. You look young, and that's part of why you should work out, right? Woody Allen. Oh man, that's crazy. 28. Like it's one of those things. So like you hear about like some of those relationships, and you're like, you know what? It's not unfeasible, right? I once dated a woman that was 44 when I was 21. Well, when you got that pressure money, you can get them when they're out on the prowl, man. I get that. I see that. uh it's gonna nurse cord. I dash a workout, but I also do not act my age either. Wait, what? Everybody, welcome Justin Francesco. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel, man. So there you go. Now, a few of you asked me, or I think it was H Down Creole. I think one of you asked me about Sean Payton a little bit earlier. Okay. Sean Payton is not a good coach. He is a great coach. Okay. Was he worth the compensation? Was he worth the compensation that the Broncos had to pay? All right. To get him to Denver? Yes, he was worth it. The way that I see it is the Saints got a back half first round pick out of the deal, which isn't the absolute best pick, but it's something. You know, at least you got something out of this. And it is very interesting that you have Sean Payton, who is ready to coach again, and he had a very good year as a broadcaster, but he was still a very good coach. Like his last year with the Saints was one of his better years as a coach, right? So he's still, I still feel Sean's in the prime of his career. I think he's still going to be a great coach. But being a great coach sometimes can overcome Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert being in your division. And the other team has Devontae Adams, who's a Hall of Famer, Max Crosby, who is a beast, Chandler Jones. But the Raiders still have a very, very solid roster, right? They're not some run over team. Like they're solid. And while the Broncos have a really good roster as well, the quarterback situation is a mess. And I just think that's a very frustrating situation if you're Sean, right? Um, it also, let's just say he makes the Broncos good. It furthers the imbalance, between the AFC and the NFC right now. So, for me, I think I think this wasn't the best move for Sean. I don't know if I would have gone to Denver. Now you do get Elway, you do get good ownership. Um, well, actually, new ownership. We'll see what the Waltons do. I mean, they're the richest owners in the league now, I believe. So I don't think when you're that rich, the team is probably like second nature to you. But for me, I just don't. I think the move was good for the Saints. I think the move was good for the Broncos because Russell does look cooked in my mind, and obviously Sean is a beast. He's an absolute beast. I I don't know. I know they got Patrick Surtain. I know they got some other really interesting pieces, but man, I don't know. I don't know about this move for Sean. I really don't. All right, so Saints need to go all in for Joe Burrow. Okay, so Joe Burrow. Is anyone Saints? Chris Olave is a good player. But is he better than T. Higgins or Jamar Chase? No. Joe Burrow to the Saints would be an easier division. But the Bengals are never making that move. Now, I will say this to this question right here from Joshua. One of my most viral tweets was me asking the Saints to trade their whole team for Joe Burrow when he was, in coming out of LSU. Okay. And I got called everything. You're an idiot. You don't know what you're doing. They would never do that. But it's the Bengals. It's worth calling to see if they would have done it. And I'd have to go find the tweet. But I said, hey, this year's first, next year's first, another first, Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas. Maybe the Bengals say, hey, let's do it. I don't remember what the trade actually was. But now you can't do that. It would be lunacy. There is one human being on the planet that you would trade Joe Burrow for, and that's the guy that just beat him. I would take Joe Burrow over every other quarterback in the NFL. And that's taking my Burrow colored glasses off. But yeah, the Saints are just going to have to tank for Caleb Williams or Anthony Richardson. Take a flyer on him. We'll see. Self-serve free agency and injury reports. Ryan Ramczyk, all-pro tackle, was drafted round 1, pick number 32. So I'm happy the Saints got that first rounder. Yeah, the Saints have done really good. That's a good point, Mike, in these back half first-round situations. I wouldn't either. I don't think there's an amount of first-round picks I would trade for a franchise quarterback that I know for sure is the franchise quarterback, because it's a non-negotiable at that point. Now, if I was getting 8 picks and this quarterback had been very hurt and he was demanding $50 million guaranteed, then I would reevaluate a lot of it. But I've gotten deeper into sports cards and trades and going to shows. Sometimes you got to offer a trade. You never know if they're going to say yes or no. You never know, right? Doug is so out on Anthony Richardson. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a really good NFL quarterback. Danny disagrees. She thinks Caleb Williams is so overrated. I think Caleb's that dude. Maybe I need to go rewatch some more Anthony Richardson. Maybe I need to, because now I'm kind of being labeled as the Anthony Richardson guy, which is fine. Right? I have been wrong on quarterbacks before. I've been very, very, very wrong. As a USC fan, Caleb Williams is real. Okay, so Roger Dodger, who used to have the USC logo, who told me randomly who your uncle is, one of the legends in sports. I remember that story. I won't say who, because everybody's going to go crazy, because we had a Michael Jordan conversation earlier. By the way, it's not Michael Jordan. We're talking about dating. Now that I'm actually glad we brought up Michael Jordan. This is weird. Okay, this is weird. And we have a commenter in here who goes by Mike Jordan as well. Shout out to him. It's a great dude. This story is just weird. Okay. Talk about an age difference. Larsa Pippen, Scottie Pippen's ex-wife, is dating Michael Jordan's son. That is, ugh. I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh man, I don't know about that one. Might have been. What's crazy is, so if that would have happened, we probably win more games, and Orgeron's probably still the coach. She cheated on Scotty with Future. Yikes. It is kind of interesting though. Like a lot of these celebrities can be with anybody they want to. They got the money, they got the good looks, and all they do is date each other's exes, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Which makes me know that if you ever do get famous, I'm never going to be that famous, obviously, but if you ever do get that famous, you start doing things just for status, right? And that is just so strange. Like that's just so weird. I'll pass on that scenario. Huh? 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 Uh, Justin Fields for the Saints QB. That'd be interesting. Exactly. That's a good way to say it. There's famous and there's pass around and not care famous. It's a lot of that too. A lot of that too. Here's Jenny Girl. Was it Peyton or Breeze? Was it Brady or Burrow? He's definitely a good coach. But did he have a QB that made him look elite? That's a good point. All right. My retort to that, though, Danny Girl, is how many games the Saints won with Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill and even like Trevor Simeon. Like it wasn't just that, they won, they were competitive. And I know we had those three, what was it, 9-7 or 7-9 seasons in a row. That was obviously mediocrity, but at the same time, you look at Tom Brady, it was in a division with the Jets and the Dolphins. And, those teams were bad. The Bills were bad during, that whole Brady run. Like the Jets had a few Mark Sanchez teams, but I mean, that was it. Where, prime Cam Newton in the NFL was a beast. He was wild how good he was. With Ted Ginn Jr. as his best receiver. And you had Matt Ryan, right? I mean, these guys aren't like all-time legends, but they were very, very, very good. And it wasn't like a lot of the Drew Brees Buccaneers teams when we played them. Those teams just weren't like New York Jets level bad. I mean, they were like decent. So, like like Sean was very good in a long time in a very tough division. Billy the Examiner and Sea Rescue. Let's go. Brittany and my aunt grew up together. That's cool. That's cool. Well, I guess the loneliness didn't kill Brittany in that situation. And I must confess, I still believe. I just listened to a podcast about that song, or like a TikTok or something like that. The lyrics shouldn't have been "Hit me, baby, one more time." It should have been "Call me, baby, one more time." But "Hit me, baby, one more time" it doesn't make as much sense, but phonetically it sounds a little bit better, right? Very interesting. Hit me, baby. I'm looking at a Saints mock draft here. Nick Underhill just did one, and he had Hendon Hooker, round 2, number 40. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Are you down with Hendon Hooker? Hey, you can't be this aggressive. You can't be this aggressive. Stop. Every time. See, she bites. Does anyone else's dogs just love to bite their fingers? Doug is out on Hendon Hooker as well. So, Doug, is there any quarterback that would satisfy you? You don't want Anthony Richardson. You don't want Hendon Hooker. What about Will Levis? What about Bryce Young? That's too much sugar. That's too much sugar. It's too much. Look at that. You love Bryce Young? Obviously, we won't be in the Bryce Young sweepstakes unless we just trade a lot. Hooker's 25. Got a tank for KJ. Let's go. KJ being a hoodad. I would love that. I think KJ's good. I do. See the flower girl? No, but she's in the wedding, and I don't know if this is going to work out. You don't think Stetson Bennett gets drafted? Well, he's knocking on everybody's door this past weekend. Oh, no on Tua. No on Bridge. So Doug, you're in for the tank, get a bridge QB, and get to it's too much sugar. and then get to Caleb Williams or Drake May. Peanut butter. Z. Look at that. So all she does is just lick stuff all day. Don't we pay Hill enough to be a bridge QB? I wouldn't mind Danny to just see what a Wildcat only system, run the triple option with Taysom Hill. Isn't it funny though? Obviously, getting arrested is never funny for anybody, but that had happened in Dallas. Like he's where TCU is located, right? Even though TCU isn't necessarily in Dallas, still in the DFW area. So, yeah. It looked like San Francisco last Sunday. How bad was that? DFW karma. Those drinks hit harder than the TCU defense, apparently. So there you go. Now, we have hit the 2-hour mark. I will answer as many questions as I possibly can in the next 5 minutes. I don't mind hanging out all night. I really don't. If you do super chat, though, we'll keep going all night. All right? Don't forget, get your PHO merch now. Okay? PowerHourLSU.com. I'm not going to pick it up because Z has obviously destroyed my fingers here. But if you get a Power Hour LSU merch tonight, I'm hooking you up with a Will Campbell autograph photo and a Joe Burrow card tonight. Only tonight. PHO merch, PowerHourLSU.com. Okay? It's if you get $50 of merch, right? That's 2 items right there. Get a Will Campbell autograph photo, Joe Burrow card. I'll throw in a Jamar Chase as well. Can't pull for the Eagles. Hey, that's fine. Might be a Cowboys fan. That's okay. Oh yeah, Danny. That got me really in my feels. The second part of that one, it's the saddest thing I've ever seen. I'm telling you, the saddest thing. I saw that and I was just not the same human. I even tweeted about it. It's crazy. But yeah, I've heard different things about Stetson and him not being the absolute most pleasant guy to be around. Trey Lance. If I'm Trey Lance, I'm not leaving San Francisco. Right? All right, so now shit again. I'm going to take you out. But yeah, Dakota, I would take Dak in a heartbeat. Say what you want about, the playoffs or whatever. Dak is still a top 10 QB. Would y'all want to go live tomorrow? I don't mind going live for a little bit tomorrow. I don't think Haley would mind. I just got to get. I just only got to get 1,000 things done tomorrow. I know. I've been holding off dropping off some film studies. I might just drop a film study tonight. I don't want to go live on Saturday from the wedding. Why not? This channel is my life. Give me a sign. Do a live stream from the wedding. Why not? Why the F not? If Denver made that trade, they would be lunatics. That is true. Injured song. What was the injured song that won? I actually forgot. I remember Caucus won it. I think it was a Kanye song. What was it? It was Good Life. Caucus won it. All right, Marcus. Shoot me a message tomorrow, and we'll have a chit chat, my brother. Now, this was a lot of fun tonight. This was one of the funnest live streams we've had in quite some time. Talked a little bit of everything. I have been contemplating. Obviously, we're LSU football first and foremost. That's never going to change. I've been contemplating getting into some different subjects. Obviously, the chat lit up. I talked about some other stuff. Obviously, LSU football is my favorite thing, but it's not my only thing. And we do a lot of different discussions on different things throughout live streams. Obviously, the NFL draft is something that excites a lot of you. It's interesting. We've got two different guys that might be first rounders. So yeah, it's very interesting. Hal, it's good, man. Yeah, I will. I'll do that right now. But yeah, how do I think Dennis Leary will do at Kentucky? I think it'll be okay. It's going to be interesting. Liam Cohen going back. Leary wasn't that great at Kentucky or at NC State, but he was still fine, right? Keep the stream going. So Joshua said he wants to keep it going. All right, yeah, we'll keep it going. If I get another $10 super chat, we'll keep this thing going for another 15 minutes. How about that? Joshua has asked for how. Dennis Leary, the stand-up comic, was good. But yeah, we'll go another 15 minutes if I get a $10 super chat. But we'll go a few more moments here. But Yeah, Joshua, you're the one that wants to keep it going. You get to pick the next topic, so go right on ahead. Danny, I don't get tired. Who is that? Kevin Gates, I think. Let's see. What's the wedding date again? Saturday. Crazy, right? This 46-year-old man finally getting married. Wild. But is his first name Dennis? I did a video on him. It's Kevin Leary. Or Devin Leary. I've been saying Dennis. So yeah, I mean, the funny thing is like his touchdown interception ratio was better than Will Levis this year. So yeah, I mean, I do think he'll be fine. I think Cohen's going to be an upgrade, but man, they lose C-Rod. Their offensive line last year sucked. And honestly, Chance, I think the one thing that Jimbo Fisher did a good job of, and this happens all the time, is we always focus on like the biggest disaster that's happening with a certain team, right? So, like for instance, let's take the NBA where the Brooklyn Nets, everyone made a big deal about Steve Nash just having a horrible start. Well, there was other NBA coaches that had just brutal starts of the season, but Steve Nash was like the dumpster fire, right? I think the same thing is true for Mark Stoops. This was not a good year for him. And I would feel differently if Mark Stoops did not talk all that trash to Calipari this offseason for the football school, basketball school nonsense. If you are Mark Stoops and you're going to, be an a-hole about that, and he had a right to be, but he wouldn't just let it go. Then Mark Stoops should have fielded a better team. Kentucky was a lifeless, boring team this year that fell way under expectations this year. So for me, I think if you want to talk about a coach that's hit a ceiling, I understand it's Kentucky. They don't recruit well. I think they have. It's either him or Malik Neighbors Brown, their receiver, the freshman they got last year. He's a really good football player. He's really good. So they have something there, and Leary coming in is going to be interesting. But man, I don't know about Mark Stoops. I just think he's just good as a coach. But I also think part of why he's been good is that all the other SEC East programs haven't been good. And you saw this past year when more of the SEC East programs got better, he got worse. So we'll see, going into next year how he does. Right? You lose to Vanderbilt, you lose to South Carolina. I know you didn't have Levis for that game, but man, it was a bad year. Who starts at Ole Miss quarterback? It's a good question. I just have a tough time not seeing Spencer Sanders start. The first thing that's interesting to me, Danny, is why would Spencer Sanders transfer from Oklahoma State to begin with? Some of these transfer decisions have always just baffled me. I can understand not, falling in love with Gundy. Gundy can be an abrasive guy. I get it. This is second straight year Gundy's had one of these fifth-year starters leave to go to, another school, right? We got Converse last year, and that one made sense because, you're moving closer to home. But Spencer Sanders going from where he is now to Ole Miss is interesting to me. You go from a place where you are the starter, and then you go to another school where you might be the starter, right? There's no guarantee that you're going to beat out Jackson Dart. So I just have a tough time not seeing Spencer Sanders start there. I think Jackson's Dart is fine. I do. I don't think he is just magnificent. So I'm going to go with Spencer Sanders at this point. I am pulling for Howard at Ole Miss. I think if you know Walker Howard and deep down you feel a certain way about Walker Howard, sure, cheer for him. But understand that in the sport of college football, you are what your schedule says you are, right? It is not like that in college basketball. It's not like that in college baseball where you have all these games and all these games have a bunch of variants and they have the little to no impact on your overall framework of your season. Football's not like that, right? The success of one program oftentimes comes at the non-success of another, right? Like how we view a team is truly dependent on the individual games themselves. So let's just say Walker Howard does live up to expectations and he is this quarterback wonder kid. That is not good for us. Number one, it makes us, not look great. And number two, it makes Ole Miss a legitimate power or, a legitimate threat. And they are now. But, I think this is not like the other sports. I think if someone does transfer to another school, you you really got to sit and think, is this is this actually something that would hurt us, right? Now if Walker Howard transfers to Oregon or if he transfers to Utah, it has no effect on us at all unless we play them in the playoff or if it's coming down to one playoff slot between us and them. But I just have a tough time, cheering for a guy. Like I want him to be happy. I'm always going to cheer for everybody's happiness. But I have a tough time cheering for another person that goes to a rival, right? Just remember, happy wife is a happy life, as always. Sentimentality has no place within the conference, let alone the division. Go be great halfway across the country. Exactly. Or just go be great at TCU, right? Like, we're never playing TCU. Never. Unless, of course, we see them in the playoff or a bowl game, right? It is very strange. Now, something else I'll say, Danny, is it's genius by Lane Kiffin. So what I'll do for you, Danny, I appreciate the super chat. I actually figured out why. So I did a video on this not too long ago on our SEC. Okay. And if you go click that link, I actually revealed why Lane Kiffin went and got these quarterbacks. And the answer is because they get hurt. Lane Kiffin quarterbacks get hurt. Okay. And look, we got we got the Will Campbell autograph photo winner. Someone got themselves some PHL merch. And it's Skipper. Skipper. There you go. I think Skipper, shoot me a text after this. I think I've already sent you a Will Campbell photo. So if you want, I can actually send you a Lance Hurd photo. And that would actually be pretty cool. You'll have, both the offensive tackles. So shout out to you, Skipper. I really appreciate the merch purchase. Our first one in a while. I appreciate it. I haven't done a really good job promoting it. First one in about, I think, a week and a half or something like that. So shout out to you, Skipper. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Quasi. JD5 winning a natty for LSU. Let's go, Quasi. I hope you're right, man. Hope you're right. Yes, I am, Chance. Like, I think you just kind of have to be this way, right? Like, uh, football is just like that. Like, number one, it's just the culture of football. But number two, what's very interesting is the players don't really seem to care all that much, right? Like when Walker Howard announced that he was going to Ole Miss, everybody wished him well. Like it was a who's who of current LSU football players commenting, wishing him well, right? Um, Maybe some of that is them just saying it just, publicly just to say it. But I can assure you, when Eli Ricks went to Alabama, the players were furious. And one day I will reveal something about that Eli Ricks announcement that really pissed me off. And it had nothing to do with Ricks. It had to do with somebody else. I get it made no sense. It made no sense. It was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. But you know, for most players, they're in a spot where they say, "Hey, I'm going to go where I feel I could be the absolute best player I can be." So we'll see. Sean Payton is now with us. Everybody's got to hop on the Mile High bus. Well, the first thing, Buster, before we hop on the bus, is you need to get Sean Payton's spelling correctly. He is not an SHWN. I think he is an SEAN. Payton. We got some Lance Hurd love. I love it. So there you go. Danny, thank you for the late super chat here. Thank you, Skipper, for the late super chat. Thank you for the merch. I got a Joe Burrow card and some goodies heading your way. But yeah, Danny, if you want my full thoughts on the Ole Miss quarterback room, it's interesting. Like I've watched a good bit of Lane's offense, right? I'm a big believer in his system. But I do think he has an over reliance to run his quarterbacks. And I think even if you have Lamar Jackson, you just can't do that, right? Like I think like um here's a good example. Okay. TLV, we'll see you, man. Appreciate you. Here's a good example, okay, with the I completely forgot what I was saying. On the quarterback running stuff. Like I think the one thing, and I know everybody's faster and things move a lot faster, but after his knee surgery, the one thing that's going to rob us of, Joe's knee surgery is he is such a great runner. I think he could be a far better like downhill runner in the NFL. It's just not worth it. Like his value as a thrower is just so much more valuable to the Bengals than the occasional 6-yard run would be for that could result in injury, right? And look, a lot of season-ending injuries for quarterbacks end when they are running, right? Jimmy G's injury happened when he was rolling out. Trey Lance's injury was, I believe, a running injury. Jameis Winston was a running injury. Dak Prescott was a running injury. But Joe was such a good runner for us. Like, it was crazy. It's the most undertold story of his greatness. how his running won us a game versus Auburn, won us a game versus Clemson, and honestly won us a game versus Alabama, especially early. He was such a great runner, right? And it's kind of interesting. The shirt, it's like him, running. It's fascinating. Colorado going 10-2. It's going to be interesting. So we know they're going to be good at corner. Shador's a decent quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, I think the hardest thing, Roger, is I don't know if Colorado's line is going to be able to hold up. And, the one thing about the portal is you can find skill guys in the portal. You can always find skill guys in the portal. They enter the portal at a higher rate. You can't find linemen, especially the numbers of linemen that you have to win and field a 10-2 team. Like, in order for you to field a 10-2 team without like a great offensive line, you better have, a stout defense. You better have a quarterback who can get rid of it quick. But man, it takes a while to build lines, right? Like, for instance, like our line would have been in shambles this year if we didn't have two true freshmen fill in. And the truth is, if they didn't fill in, I don't know how many games we would have won if we didn't have those two players. It was two players. One of those guys goes down. You saw, our worst game of the season this year was when our left tackle wasn't healthy. One player, and I know it was special teams and a lot of other things, but man, you got to have numbers on the offensive line, and I don't know if Colorado has that. I've not looked at their roster, but I doubt it. I really do. But yeah, that offensive line is a mess. Lyle Collins getting hurt didn't help. I got a stunk that didn't work out, but that's not here nor there. Now, here's what we're gonna do. I don't know if we're gonna go live tomorrow. I got to see what the wedding schedule looks like. Would y'all guys want to hang out for a little bit tomorrow night? We could work something out. So you guys let me know. Okay. Oh, basketball's tomorrow. That's bad if I'm not even looking at the schedule. Huh? All right. This was a lot of fun. Now, I will talk to you tomorrow. Okay. I kind of want to go live tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. It is Power Hour LSU. Bam. And tonight, we're doing some shrimp pasta from Carrabba's. Let's go.